G'day, I'm Steve. G'day, Steve here, Woodworking Masterclass. Hey, welcome to the workshop. Do you know I've done a lot of videos now, and along the way I've made several Cabriole legs, I've made shapes that are round on chairs, I've made cabinets that are rounded on the corners, and one thing I'm asked, I think more than anything else, apart from how's Bob, is about this bow sander that I use to finish rounding over any legs or any round surfaces I use. It really is good for just getting in there and smoothing out all those flat surfaces. So what I thought I'd do today is actually share with you how my bow sander was made. Now this is the second one that I've had. The first one, I came across it the other day, and I made this one on the 5th of November 1997, and I was in a bit of a hurry, didn't have much room to manoeuvre. I needed it, so I knocked it up. The handle's a little bit short, and I think it was about 10 or 13 years later, when I had a little bit of time, I thought I'd make one a little bit more upmarket. This one is made out of European beech, and this one is made out of blackwood. This one I've actually got copper and brass fittings on. Well, I did have, but I lost two of them, so I've just got a bit of cooked-down ironwood on the back. But it doesn't matter if it's a thrown-together quickly one or one you've taken time with. They absolutely work well, and once you start using it, you'll wonder how you got by without it. Now, up until very recently, I didn't think you could buy these, but more about that later on. So my particular bow sander, this shape that I use is actually on my website. If you go to woodworkingmasterclass.com.au, join up on the free e-workshop, there's a PDF which will print out this exact shape. So how I get my shape to go is, there's a copy of it there. This is just a piece of butcher's paper. Get a piece of MDF scrap. Grandkids have been in here, that's how to staple through it. And then just using a bit of spray adhesive or watered down glue or clag or whatever adhesive you've got at hand. Give it a quick spray. And then lay the drawing on the top of that. If you want, instead of gluing it up onto a piece of MDF, as I've done, you could put it straight onto the piece of timber you want to make your bow sander out of. But the reason I use MDF first is if ever I make a tool and I need it once, I'm pretty sure I'll need it down the road, or somebody else will say, oh, that's terrific, can you make me one of those? Well, this way I'm going to make a pattern, and so I can make them. Hey, if you can, sell them. You never know your luck. So on to MDF. Now it's over to the bandsaw to rough cut this shape out. What you want to do when you're cutting it out is just go on the outside of the line that you've drawn. All right, there's the basic shape. Now, as I said at the bandsaw, just make sure that you're on the outside of that pencil line. So when you finish cutting, you can still see the pencil line. Don't need this at the moment. Bob, no, don't chew. Mongrel. Okay, now, with a nice rasp, or if you haven't got a rasp, grab a bit of 100 grit sandpaper, shape it right onto that line. Nearly there. Then when you've got it to the shape that you want, you're happy with it, transfer this onto a piece of plywood. And using double-sided tape, and then cut it close to the line on the bandsaw, but not over the line. And then I use a profile cutter, and on the router I will then shape that, and this ball bearing will then follow the contour of the shape of the bow sander. So I'll just go and do that, and then we're almost there. All right, there's a bit of plywood that's had the template put on top. Just remove the double-sided tape. Get it off as quick as you can because it gets a bit gummy otherwise. And now, with this plywood shape, I then am going to find a piece of timber, place it onto the timber, and do exactly the same as what I did with the MDF shape. Keep this one if you can, but if it gets broken, destroyed, wet, whatever, it doesn't matter, because you've got a good copy here with the plywood one. So it might be an idea at some stage to maybe drill a hole in here, then you can hang it up on the wall. Now I'll go and get a bit of timber and do exactly the same process as I've done here. The only thing is, if you can't get good double-sided tape to hold it on, it might be an idea if you put nails through the template here and actually nail it onto the timber. The timber I'm using will be about 1 inch thick. And there we go. I found a piece of Queensland walnut. Now I've done exactly the same with this as I did to this, as we did to this. This one you shape by hand to get your profile, transfer it to a plywood template, and then do the solid timber one. If you don't want to go to that bother, you can actually put it, as I said before, directly onto a piece of timber. But this is nice because down the track, if you've got a dog like mine, he could chew yours and you'll need to make another one, or I can guarantee other people will see yours and go, oh, that's great, can I make one? And then you can say, well, I've got the template here, and you can help them out. What happens now is we have to cut some indentations here and here and make some little holdfasts, which, as I said, I did with copper and brass on this one. Then I lost the copper bits and I just used a piece of hardwood. And if I look at this one that I built so long ago, it's actually just got washers holding it in. So you can either go rough and rustic, or you could have a little bit of pizzazz on it. They both work just fine. And that's how they're held in. Just these two little slots here that I cut. So now we've got to find some clamping material. I don't know where my copper's gone, but I've got a bit more ironwood, so we'll use that. Which is this here, Cooktown ironwood. Look, any wood would do. I'm sure pine would even work, because as you clamp it up, the abrasive side of the paper will actually bite into the holding surface, so it'll act as a clamp upon itself. All right, so I'll just cut a couple of lengths of this. Length really is not important, whatever you think. I might go 40 millimeters back here on the handle, and I might put 30 on the front. Now what I do is take the width of the timber I'm using and just draw along there. And the same at the back. If you want, you can go over to the bandsaw and do it, or you could just use a handsaw. So in this case, I might just use a handsaw. Haven't quite got the depth on that one. Always pays to have a spare. And there we have it. Clean the ends up with a chisel. All right. It's nice and smooth there. And there. Cut these two bits to length. Now we've got a piece here and a piece to go there. I'll drill one hole centralish there and 2 holes here, and I'll countersink them. So now it's finished, except for me it's a bit square. Now you can shape it, if you like, shape it using a spoke shave or a rasp, or if you've got a router set up, it's a round over piece like this. I'll just go over to the router table and I'll profile this, and you'll see the difference between when it's square and then when it's rounded over. Back in a tick. And there we have it. Rounded over. So then get a strip of whatever grit that you need, and then you cut 2 slots. That's so the screws can slide up inside on both ends. Then just simply a question of getting your paper, sliding it so the screw goes in that middle slot. Push it all the way home. Give it a nice firm tighten. Make sure it won't pull out. And that's it, it's a bow sander. Put the leg back in, see how it goes. That's all there is to it. Well, I hope you enjoy making one and get many years of use out of it. Of course, from this shape, you can then sand it, you can shape it, you can polish it. I think I finished this one in shellac and wax, so you can do the same to this. And after many years of use, it gets a nice patina on it. Now, what I said before at the beginning of this project was I'd never heard of these being for sale before. That is, until a few weeks ago I bumped into a fella at a woodworking show and he actually sells them. And it's called the McFarlane Bow Sander. I've got to say, they look pretty nice. Here's one made up. The wonderful idea with this one that I like is you can actually tension the bow. This is flexible here. And it's got these 2 great little locking pins. If I can just unlock them. There we go. And then that's how your paper comes out. To put your paper back in, just a question of putting some preload on it, sliding your paper in, and then getting the little locking tab and sliding that in place, and look at that, you're back to business. And they work. Now with the kit you get the bow sander, all excited when I open presents, the bow sander, and there's 4 different grades of sanding paper that you then just cut to length, and a spare set of the little lugs that hold it all in. So Evan Dunstan was the man, and as I said, McFarlane bow sander. Check them out on the web there. You can buy them online, and look, if you don't want to make your own and you want to get straight into doing something that requires a bow sander, there's a very reasonable alternative for you. They look nice, they feel nice, and they work. But if you want to go through the hand process, by all means go that way as well. I've, as I said, had this one since 1997 and it hasn't worn out yet. So this is Steve pulling the shed door down on another simple project, but a really great tool to have in the shed, and saying, remember to keep it sharp, but more importantly, keep it safe, enjoy your woodwork. What else can I say? Like us on Facebook, and if you want more videos, join up the e-workshop at woodworkingmasterclass.com.au. It's free, and soon to have a lot more videos and a lot more information. And just a reminder, the PDF for this particular shape of the bow sander is available on the e-workshop. Bye for now. G'day, Steve here, Woodworking Masterclass. You know, when I need hardware or any bits and pieces, this is where I come. Masters Parkinson, near Browns Plains in Queensland. But with almost 60 stores nearly Australia wide, there's bound to be one near you. So why don't you do as I do, go to Masters for your hardware. And if you see me in the Parkinson store, say g'day.